Boom! There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm joined with Ty and Phil, and we're all going to be talking about cool things and random stuff. And yeah, that's literally going to be it, I think. So, not much on the old roster today. So, we're going to be talking about X-Men 97 and Episode 5 and how it's kind of absolutely and utterly destroyed the internet and how it's super, super cool.
So, yeah, I still have not seen anything of X-Men, so spoil it away.
Okay. Ty looks a bit annoyed, like, how dare you talk about my X-Men, my beautiful X-Men. He's muted himself. You've muted yourself, Ty. You've muted.
No wonder something was up.
Yeah.
Well, annoyed at that and more annoyed at my lip.
Why? What did you do with your lip?
I think I got a cold sore and it's festered, basically.
Ah.
Wow. It's yeah, it's not one of the nicest things and all, so
It's pretty swollen.
So yeah, so X-Men boys, X-Men. How are we enjoying this series so far?
It feels rushed.
Does it feel rushed?
Especially when you have two conflicting storylines in one episode. I believe with episode 5, it was Gambit's death and Storm losing her powers.
Okay, yeah.
Or was that last episode?
So she lost her powers a while ago. And then obviously it was the kind of Genosha episode, and then kind of talking about Storm. So I kind of think for this episode, I don't think having the two storylines together would have conflicted that much, because if it was just on Genosha and how it was, I think it'd be really boring. Like, I'd be like, oh, okay, we're seeing loads of different things. Not unless all the mutants were doing, like, using their powers and stuff like that.
Right.
But I do get what you mean. Like, the series does seem quite fast paced at the moment. I'm hoping that it kind of like drops down a little bit, or if it's going to be something completely different, much later on.
I mean, if it's supposed to be only 10 episodes, I don't know. But with the popularity, you would think, there we go. Okay, we're going to spread it out now.
I think the majority is, like, they're doing it obviously weekly, which is fantastic. It's doing everything it needs to do. But I think that maybe they didn't think on how popular this was going to be. Like, I know it has a fan following from years ago, but I do kind of think at the same time, if it was shit, people would be like, why have we got like 24 episodes? Yeah, we want a lot more like from it. We don't want more episodes if it's going to be a shit storyline. But because it's just boomed, and it's not like how it was back in the day. And obviously, this wasn't made for kids. This was made for us, effectively.
Right.
Just like Cosmic Fury, we went over this with Cosmic Fury as well. It surely wasn't made for children. It was made for the fans, once and always as well.
Well, looking at X-Men at the moment, before we go back to Cosmic Fury, season 1 had 13 episodes. Season 2 had another 13 episodes. Season 3 had 19. Season 4 had 21. And then season 5 had 10, which to me is like insane, because I generally think that it was a lot longer. I especially remember that arc where they all went to the island, lost all the powers, like lasted like 30 weeks. That was like 30 episodes per one. So, yeah. So I generally think that for the 10 episodes that we've got right now, I think maybe a bit like enough, because it's definitely holding it out for all these weeks. Like, I have something to look forward to every single week now, rather than let's just binge it, because I don't think it has. I think that if you put it all online now, I think people wouldn't watch it. Like, they binge it and then that's it. They don't talk about it. Where now it's like, man, like we've got an entire week to wait. What's going to happen after the end result with Gambit and like Rogue, and is Rogue going to go absolutely like insanely like just beating the crap out of everyone? How is that gonna work now?
Well, I still know nothing about it, but
So
I'm pretty sure Rogue at some point in this series will go absolutely insane from the sound of it.
So I'll tell you from what I remember. So basically, there's Genosha, which was meant to be going into the European, or basically in the like
United Nations type
that's
thing.
It was meant to be in the United Nations, and like they were all gonna like accept it. Magneto, was gonna join the council and stuff like that.
Right.
And in this episode, like they're like, yeah, come along, and he's like, okay, I'll be your leader, but you've got to make Rogue your queen. So because obviously they're fucking each other at this time, and she kind of breaks it off with like Gambit, and is just like, nah, I don't want this. Like, we're friends only, and that really hurts Gambit. So they all go to this party, and everyone's having fun. This like massive ball, and then suddenly it gets attacked, and you see Cable come back from the original. He's like, "Get everyone out of here right now!"
Right.
And this massive sentinel comes out of nowhere, like 3-headed sentinel, and absolutely wastes the shit out of everyone. And literally, you have like Magneto being in there, and he's trying to kind of like save people. He saves like Rogue and Gambit and stuff, and then they have this like look at each other as like we haven't seen the body, so it's technically I think he's still alive, but obviously he gets completely wiped out, and Gambit goes on this whole massive like going to attack using his powers, but he gets like impaled, and then
okay, so I haven't seen the whole thing, so I haven't seen any episode of this, but I did, of course, Instagram, so people upload clips and stuff of different things. So they did upload a like minute-long clip of that whole entire fight scene. So I do know what you're talking about with that. The fact that it kind of threw me off that Magneto would be this type of person in that sense, to actually sacrifice himself for either someone else or for just the sake of like sacrificing himself.
Well, he was protecting mutants, and that was the whole thing. And obviously, because of all these Sentinels coming out of nowhere and like overpowering him, he wasn't able to kind of do anything. So he was pretty much all like, "Oh, I'm going to make sure that everyone's protected." And it's just such a sad scene, because like it kind of flashes back to what happened in like back within like, I think where his hometown was, where he got invaded by the Germans and stuff like that. And he just turns around to like the person, and they say something like really heartwarming and stuff like that. And then something like they get destroyed, but you don't see the bodies or anything like that. So again, hello D, welcome.
Good morning.
Right.
He sounds like a zombie.
Oh, I was so late. Work has kicked my ass.
Damn, son! Like, you could have taken the day off, and we could have just finished talking about X-Men and stuff like that.
Oh, that's what you guys talking about, X-Men.
Yeah, the new episode at the moment.
Yes. Continue.
Yeah, but because of it's there's so much stuff in there on this one episode. it kind of gets to the point where you're like, oh my god, like, you know, what's going to happen next? And like the reaction online has just been one of those things where everyone's been destroyed. Like everyone's just gone like, what the hell? And I think what really kind of like made it work is at the very end, like you just hear Rogue, like who's picked up the body of like Gambit, and she's like, oh, like I don't know what she calls him, but then she just goes, I can't feel you, and you just know that he's dead. And it's just like the way it goes in is like there's no, I don't think there's any music played, and you just hear her cry for a little bit, which is like, oh, it's heartbreaking as fuck. So I'm hoping that in the next episode, like she doesn't get held back by Scott or anyone like that going, like, we have to do this. I hope she goes, I am going to absolutely destroy whoever did this. And that's her rampage, like the Rogue rampage.
Okay. Now, as far as like the acting goes in this rebooted remake, like how would the acting be on like a scale of like 1 to like amazing?
For reboot wise, I think it's actually amazing because I think with the majority of what X-Men is, like people like when people say, oh, it's woke and stuff like that, like it's X-Men's always been like that since day one. So I think that everything that they put into this works so much better because it's exactly what X-Men is. So where you have the whole thing of like mutants are scum of the earth and everybody hates them and stuff like that, it works well. So you can really just go, let's pour everything into it. And I absolutely have been like really enjoying it. Like even the voices, like they've got majority of the voice cast back. And I love the fact that even if the actors who have passed on, their voices sound very, very similar. And I think they're just doing everything right. Like, if this is the case, and then they suddenly do say like Spider-Man, I'd be all on board for it. I'd be like, I want to see these shows. Like, I want to see the conclusion to, you know, Peter Parker going off and trying to find Mary Jane. You know, if they do other ones that you know, like say Blade, or did Blade have a cartoon? I know he was in Spider-Man.
I believe so.
Yeah. Well, if you did all these like 90 shows once again, I think it would work really, really well. Like 100%, it would be, to me at least, the best thing.
I think X-Men is an anomaly there because it was such a fan favorite and it was one of the best of the animated shows. So that's why I think it translates so well today, because they did change the tone and the story to grow it up. Yeah, I know you guys did touch on the end of episode 5, but if you guys do know the comics, it is setting up Charles Xavier's evil, crazy twin, which is I think her name is Nora. Nora. She's the one who started this whole thing with the genocide of Genosha. So they're setting that up. And the crazy thing is, she's actually the villain in Deadpool and Wolverine. And I do know that they are combining, you know, the animated with the live action. So I don't know exactly how they're going to fold in this X-Men 97 Nora into the live action. But X-Men ends when Deadpool comes out. So I don't know if it's going to be an incursion there or the multiverse is going to bring Nora from the animated universe into live action. They have to stop her there from it happening into what Earth is we on in the MCU? Is it 316 or something like that? Or 316?
MCU.
You talking about like our MCU?
Yes, or
I think it's like 99, 91, something like that.
It says here, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, MCU, has finally been officially designated as Earth 616, as stated in Marvel Studios' timeline guidebook. Previous references and Easter eggs hinted at the MCU being Earth 616, including mention of Mysterio in Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay, 616. So if Nora, the thing is, I'm trying to figure out, is X-Men 97, is that, I know it's a different universe, but when the incursion happened, that she get pulled from that universe into 616, and that's when Deadpool and Wolverine had to get with the time folks from Loki to see if they could stop her from happening in the 616 universe. And it looks like that's what they're trying to set up here, and I'm super excited if they're going to blend the two.
Right. Yeah, it's a different take on how X-Men is usually done.
Right.
So
Now the thing is, who will they bring over to live action?
That's a good question.
I want them to bring like magic across, something like that. Just be like really, really random, just a random mutant, and then just be like bring magic into it.
So if it's designated as 616 Prime, then we already have the Darkhold, the book.
Okay.
The very scary book that Strange was trying to get away from Wanda.
Right. So, I mean, they already brought over pretty much. Well, you know, with the different live action X-Men movies, they pretty much brought over like all the main people. So, who can you bring over?
I don't know. I mean, like now that Marvel has got like pretty much every single character back bar Spider-Man, like I feel like they could delve deep into any one now and just go, yeah, this is what we're gonna do, etc., and just kind of like go with it. You know, why like limit yourself? Go crazy, bring in like characters that no one like has really seen for a very long time. And then just don't mess it up.
That shit pretty dope.
Yeah, well, I can't wait to see how they do it. Like I've been fairly disappointed in what Marvel has been doing for the past couple of months. So
yeah, it's not been like the best time for them, but I generally kind of think now you can play about. I think if you get the right people back in and then just say, this is what we're doing, because they have had quite a lot of backlash with how some of the stuff is. Like you had She-Hulk, which I think I liked She-Hulk to some degree. I think I just didn't like the last episode where it's just like, oh, we're going to completely and utterly break this. And, you know, where it felt like I think having like, say, if they did like a Marvel court system, I think that would have been really, really cool. Yeah, with the occasional let's go fight bad guys and stuff like that. That I think would have been like absolutely perfect.
So pretty much just like a court series on Marvel that involves She-Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. And then
attorney of law.
Yeah, be like, what? I know they can't get Robbie Downey Jr. in, but can you imagine? Like, okay, so basically now we've got Tony Stark. And it's like,
there are rumors that he's coming back.
There's always I've always seen these rumors like, he's coming back in this film, he's coming back in this one, and it's like until I see Robbie Downey Jr. on set, because we had that whole thing of, oh, he's going to be the AI to his daughter's like suit and stuff like that, and blah 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 blah, and it's one of those things. I think if Disney did do it, I think bringing him back would mean that his soul sacrifice in Endgame would be absolutely the worst because it was such an emotional moment.
I think he needs to be in some of the before Endgame stuff.
Right.
If anything. But him as an AI to his daughter's suit, I think that's perfectly fine.
That I'll go with, like, if they do decide to do it, because obviously at the end of Endgame you did see him as a hologram, so I can understand if they did that. I just think if you brought him back randomly, I don't think it would work that well. I think it would mean like a lot. Like, say for example in Power Rangers, if suddenly you brought Zordon back properly, not the Zato version, like the whole thing of Power Rangers in space would just be a massive big. Well, that didn't really mean anything, did it?
Right. I mean, honestly, I think them kind of trying to possibly retcon uh uh Tony's role as now a holographic artificial AI would be the best step to do it, because if they did a whole temporal anomaly time warp thing to where they reversed time and brought him back and kept him from dying, I would have been like, yeah, so no, just no. So we're like, nope, I'm not seeing it. Like, nah, you didn't just screwed up everything that's been laid out for the past like 5 years. So, no point.
Yeah. See, I'm just hoping that they don't decide to fuck. Well, to be fair, Marvel has been massively fucked up for like multiple times now. I just want them to do something like different. Maybe like come to the part where they do this huge, massive the end type thing, and that's it. Like they just go, yeah, we're done with Marvel. Like we're 100% done. This is the last thing, and it's just a big, massive thing. Like to end it, like something so big that it's it's going to cost them billions of dollars to produce, and then we can just go, well, we're all done now. We're all done.
Yeah.
What if Wanda comes back and she's like, no more MCU, and then they just become DC characters?
Yeah.
Oh God.
To be fair,
Superman just comes in like, where the hell am I?
well, you know what they could do? So I think this would be a thing if they worked with DC. There is actually an official superhero from Marvel and DC that they co-own. What is the... And it basically, he keeps the both universes separate, and that's his only power.
That's actually pretty cool.
What's it called? So it's Axel Asher, and it says his name's Access. His superhero is owned by both DC and Marvel Comics. He made his first appearance in the DC versus Marvel 1, February 1996, a special crossover between the two companies. He was intended both as a way to explain the events of the story, as well as a mask to enable more such crossovers in the future. So can you imagine if like they just like combined together, went, let's make an Access movie, and then suddenly like it breaks down, and you see like Barry Allen come into like the Marvel universe, or Ironheart goes off to like DC or something like that, and
Right.
I think that would be so goddamn cool.
Right.
I would be up for that. I would be 100% up for that. I think that would be like the coolest one.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm still not a fan of what's her name? Riri Wilson in the MCU.
Oh, Riri Williams. We haven't seen much of her, but what we saw in Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
I'm see what they're gonna do with
not
her.
impressed.
What type of arc they're gonna give her?
Right. I honestly wasn't impressed. The suit looked nice, but I wasn't impressed.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens. I know MCU being shitted on for the past few years. They had some hits and misses, more misses lately, but I'm still excited to see what they're gonna do with their storytelling and how they're gonna recover from this terrible, what was it, phase 4?
I thought they were on phase 5. I thought we were on the 5th one.
Oh well, see, I'm confused. I don't know if this is the multiverse phase or whichever one we at now. It's not really clear what they're doing with the overarching story. Like we know what phase 1, phase 2 was. It was Thanos' big thing. They was going up. Then we see that they was going towards what's his name? Crap.
Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, and then they just completely
dropped that storyline.
Yeah, so I'm so confused.
I think because obviously with Jonathan Majors and what he's done is like obviously I don't think that they were very kind of prepared, because I know when all these allegations like came through at the time, he absolutely like, they were like, oh, we've got to now do say Doctor Doom, and I think that's the reason why we're getting a Fantastic Four film right now. So I think in the long run, I don't know. Like, I think they have to put the brakes and go, okay, maybe we just jump to phase 5. Let's introduce Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four. Let's move it to this one, and then just kind of like see what happens. But I think because they're taking a load of like hammering on how much money they're spending, how much like these graphics are, like She-Hulk cost them a lot of money, but the show didn't do very well, and that's the writing. I think what they should do is they should just hire like some of the writers and stuff like that they had through the past years. Like, okay, well, Iron Man so-and-so did really well, and so did Thor, and then so did this one and this one. Let's bring those writers back, sign them exclusively, and then say, you are now building the MCU. You are now doing this completely, and then leaving it there, and then just going, whatever. If it fails, then we know it's the same writers, and then just take their time. And I think that's what a lot of people want to do, because I don't believe in hero fatigue. I think it's the writing. If you have, like, say, 5 films that are so bad, you're not bored of the superheroes. You're just bad of the you're tired of the writing that's going along.
Right.
And I think that's the main thing that people are annoyed about, because we've had so much Marvel over the past decade or something, and yet no one got bored when you had the first wave, like with Iron Man, Thor, and all of that. They're just bored of the bad writing that's kind of like kicked in at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
They rushing everything, and they're not really giving the thing the quality that it had before. But that still goes back to what I've been saying in previous episodes. I just think it's too much exposure right now for Marvel. They're releasing a combination of shows and like movies, like 10 things in a year. Like, you guys need to slow down. You can't really keep up.
I think another element to that is that the way that everything is linked in. So like, if you want to know what's happening in this Marvel film, you have to watch Moon Knight. All right, I don't give a shit about Moon Knight, or it's like this one general that turns up in Moon Knight you've got to know who it is. And it's just like, they just say, hi, my name is General blah blah, and it's just like, and then it's like, did you know who he is? And then it's like, okay, well, why do I need to watch an entire season for that one cameo? Because he's going to be he's going to be in the next 3 films that actually tells him why he's a general. I think that if they just drop the whole thing of you have to watch, say, WandaVision, you have to watch Moon Knight, whatever, you don't have to watch them to enjoy the thing. Like, I just don't give a shit. No one's going to nudge me and go, hey, it's that general. He's in Moon Knight. I'm like, I don't care. Like, does he do anything? No, he was just Moon Knight. All right, cool. I think that once they drop that whole thing, like, keep linking like the films. So, hey, I've just seen Black Panther. I need to watch Black Panther to know what's happening in Iron Man 28, because that's a big part of it. But that they flow. So everyone goes sees Black Panther. Everyone then goes see like Iron Man 28. Everyone does that sort of thing. And I don't need to know WandaVision. Like, okay, cool.
Exactly.
Honestly, it's just too much like going on with both the shows and the movies. Honestly, they could just kept to the same format and just release movie after movie after movie. I don't mind the TV shows, but why do I gotta watch a series just to figure out what's going to happen in the next two movies? Like like you said, it's just stupid to me, honestly, when you could have just released a film here, a film there, just gradually for over the next 5 years, and then we would have been happy with that. But it is what it is.
Yeah, and even linking them, like you said, Mark, there's small hints at smaller characters that we may not even know about. Kang, I had no idea about Kang.
Well, I think with Kang, people are going to watch Loki, so that's a perfect time to kind of do it. But effectively, you don't need to tell everyone. It's in the series here. You find out about him, but again, if he just pops up, he's going to be a bad guy. But then people go okay, well, I'm a bit confused. Oh, he's in Loki. I'll go watch Loki. but maybe not tying that in again, like thinking about it, not going, okay, you have to watch all of Loki to know Kang's backstory. You could just go, big bads, just leave them in for the films. Do the whole thing like when they did with Thanos, and then that's particularly it.
Right. But yeah, it is what it is. We got what we got, so we can't change it.
Yeah, no. I mean, you've got like I've just been looking up so like Captain America with a Sam, like so the Falcon. This toy looks really like mecha toy looks actually really fucking amazing. But yeah, like I don't know. I just went off topic because I was looking something up. But yeah, like I'm hoping that we can at least get something that's pretty decent at some point, and Marvel sorts itself out, because they were the kings of all this sort of stuff, and now it's like they're shit and no one cares.
Yeah, they need to get their stuff together again.
Speaking of that Captain America 4 movie, am I the only one that don't really care about Falcon as Captain America?
I'm not really like, it doesn't really bother me that he's Captain America. I just think that I wish that he was his own character, the Falcon, and I kind of wish that he stayed the Falcon. Like, but again, it doesn't really bother me that he's popped up, as Captain America. Like, whether he was in the film, I didn't mind Cap going, "No, you are now Captain America." But yeah, I think they could have easily have just like sorted their shit out on it, made it different. Like, I never watched the Winter Soldier and Falcon show.
It was boring.
Yeah.
And I do know he becomes Captain America in the comics, and it's okay. It was earned there, but to me, it just seemed too rushed. Like, I didn't get enough of him as Falcon as a solo character first. I wish it would have been his first, not the show. Okay, I get that was his origin story, but I wish he had a film first as just being Falcon, showing how great he was as Falcon and why he was Captain America. And I know they did that with the show, but it was so convoluted and so many things going on with the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, it was lost in translation.
Right.
And even in Civil War, he didn't get much screen time.
None.
I mean, the screen time he did get, it was more of him being like a comic relief than like a serious fighter.
Yeah, I'm open to seeing the movie and judging it on his own merit and seeing how it works. But I just wish he would have been Falcon first on his solo adventure.
Right.
That stupid terrible show, because again, it was still a team up. It wasn't him, I should say.
Nope.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that maybe they just need a proper whole film to dedicate to themselves before they do shit.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about 97 as well, is we kind of jumped right back into it. We didn't have a recap of what happened in the first 5 seasons of X-Men. A recap would have been nice.
Right.
I mean,
they did a recap.
Did they? I was going to say.
Yeah, the first episode, it was recapping the events of what happened throughout the series.
Oh, I thought it jumped right in.
No, it was a recap.
Okay, I'll rewatch.
But I think that if you're going to watch recap it yourself, all you have to do is just watch the last episode of season 5, and then it just basically tells you like everything that you need to know.
Or go to YouTube and put recap of X-Men.
Yeah.
People done so many videos for you that can run it down. But I just feel like X-Men 97 really didn't even need a recap. It almost feels like you could just jump right in and it's telling the story. You know what I mean? It's good. Because the characters are different. I don't care what people say. These characters are very different than they were in the 90s. The way they act, the action, everything's just totally different than the X-Men show. Is a rebooted show.
Right.
Yeah. Like with the whole Jean Grey and Wolverine thing, that really got me, because I thought, they're going to go back to the whole thing where Wolverine's constantly pining after Jean. But it seems like he hasn't. It's that one thing where he respected Gene, and was like he could have really have gone for it in the last episode, but he was like, "Oh, you need to sort it out with Scott there," and it's like, "All right, that's cool, thanks, Wolverine. You didn't take advantage of her, and you let her kind of figure this all out for herself."
I still
You
think
have
it's
more?
Emma Frost fucking with them, and I'm so here for it.
Oh yeah, she did she did turn up, didn't she?
Yeah, so I think it's Emma Frost screwing everybody, and I freaking love it.
To be fair, I generally thought Morph. I just reckon everyone on the X-Men is just fucking each other. Like, it's the whole thing. Like, it just seems like that's the thing that they would all do, And it's just like, yeah, I just think they're all fucking each other.
So
And
that's literally what they do at the X Mission. Them being
Yeah.
superheroes is just the front, but they're actually a sex dungeon.
Of course, like, look at how Morph is. Like, look at how Morph goes after Wolverine, and he's just like, he goes, "Oh, I'm going to turn into Sabretooth. I'm going to turn into this and this," and it's like he's like, "Oh, okay," and like you just know, like I think Morph fucks everyone, and he goes, "Who do you want me to be?" And Gambit's like, "Oh, I can only think of Rogue," and he goes, "Okay," and then just turns into Rogue, and he's just like, "Damn right."
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm going to say this again. Morph is probably one of the most woke-ish characters, we'll say, because he can actually change his biology.
Yeah,
he can actually do that. Mystique cannot.
But I think that when you come down to that, like, I don't care if he or Mystique or any shapeshifters woke, because at the end of the day, could you imagine, like, you can turn into any sort of person, properly DNA everything, and then you just lose yourself. Like, okay, today I'm going to be Jean Grey for for a week. Oh, I'm going to be this person here. I'm going to be that person there. Over time, like, if you don't have it together, you could turn around and go, am I male? Am I female? What am I? And I just got
exactly, which is why Morph is probably one of the more subtle and best written woke characters.
Why we keep using that terminology woke is using it the wrong way. They making him non-binary here, which okay, it makes sense. That's a new term there. But he literally can be anyone.
I think it's just because that's the terminology that everybody's using. And it's just one of those things of, we don't want to get it wrong.
Just call it what he's non-binary. They're non-binary. I can't even say he's in front of it. It's fucking Morph. It's a character that can be anyone.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I used to hate Morph, like, because I didn't read the comics because they weren't
a dick in the first series.
It was just the way he was. I always thought he looked really creepy, but I like the way that even his morph, his voice as well, that always was creepy to me, And then now it actually seems like it's a proper, like, it's a proper voice, not like, I'm gonna be this.
Yeah, they changed that. And his face, those dark circle eyes, like a raccoon.
Yeah,
they changed him up.
Well, that was the whole thing, like, because that's where like Sinister took over and did stuff to him. And then that's what he came to. Because obviously he does that in the episode where he's just like, Sinister, is that bad? And it's just like, okay, I can get what it means, but Morph's been a really well done like character, and I'm glad that they're actually giving him proper screen time rather than like shipping him off and be like, whoopsie, we'll never see you again.
If I remember correctly, he was killed in the second episode, and then he comes back later going, hey guys, I wasn't dead, but by the way, I'm a villain now.
Yeah, because Sinister wanted to like fuck with people, and he was like experimenting and like wanted to turn everyone Morph against the X-Men, from what I remember. And then he comes back like a handful of episodes, and then he just disappears every single time. He's just like, see you later.
Yeah, I didn't really follow Morph. I thought he died. Again, I don't remember the 80s show. That was so long ago, you know what I mean? So,
that's something I started rewatching it.
I was not about to go rewatch that. I'm sorry.
I just did the YouTube thing. That was it, just Morph. And then it just popped up, and I was like, oh. But then again, like, I think I stopped watching the animated show for like quite a while and stuff like that. So like maybe I watched the first like episode or two, and then that was it. So
Yep, X-Men it is.
But yeah. So moving on to the next topic. Do you guys watch Star Trek Lower Decks by any chance?
I have not.
Have not.
Oh man! So basically, for everyone to, so we'll briefly talk about this. So basically, it was an animated series. It's a really fun series. Like, I originally didn't like it because it didn't hold up what Star Trek was, and then I think after a while, I was like, actually, this is actually really enjoyable. So it's taking the piss out of. It's taking the piss out of Star Trek, but like all the loopholes and little things like that, and it's generally just a good show. But yeah, they kind of cancelled it after it's on season 5, and they've just recently cancelled it. But Paramount seems to just be cancelling a lot of shows at the moment, and it's just like people are actually enjoying this and like wanting this. So why are you cancelling it?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense because a lot of Star Trek fans that I know really enjoy it, even for its like Rick and Morty type humor.
It's yeah, I would say probably a little bit of Rick and Morty like humor, but I think at times it's a lot better because like they poke fun at stuff. Like, did you guys ever watch The Next Generation?
I have.
Okay,
So-
don't kill me. The only Star Wars type thing
Star
I've
Trek.
watched
Star
was
Trek.
the Orville, and that wasn't even
Oh.
Star Wars. I mean
No.
Star Trek.
That's his own thing. A lot of people said that was closer to TNG than anything. But then Seth MacFarlane is a very big Star Trek fan, so I would assume it was. Okay, so if you did watch the TNG, there's an episode where one of the actor who plays Tom Paris in Voyager was in, and basically that entire episode is that they like they cause an accident, they cause a death, and it's like there are certain like a squad, the best squad in the world in Star Trek, and the actor who played Tom Paris plays this character. So in Star Trek Lower Decks, they actually get like the guy who was actually Tom Paris to come back and voice this character, and they keep making jabs like, hey, they look exactly similar, and it's like, no, I don't see this type of thing. It's like, no, he looks exactly like Tom Paris. He's like, no, I don't see it. And it's that sort of kind of like back and forth. But the fact is that they took that one episode and then made the one series main bad guy that character. I was like, damn, that's some impressive shit right there. So, but yeah, it's been cancelled, which really kind of like annoys me because I think it could have gone on for like till season 8 or something like that. But yeah, Paramount just fucking killed it, and it's just like, why?
How was the viewership though? Did it have a lot of viewers for it?
I think it did actually. Like, it was one of those things where it was a decent comedy, but I think they actually did have quite a lot of viewership for it. But Paramount at the moment is just killing shows, because there was another one which was Star Trek Prodigy, which was basically like a continuation in a way, where you have like a group of kids that go they're in the Delta Quadrant, and they find a starship which has got a prototype, and it brought back Kate Mullineaux, who's Captain Janeway, as a hologram, and that did really, really well. And they actually had season 2 all done. They just literally had to just release it, and they were like, no, we cancelled it.
Was it a live action?
No, it's all 3D animated, but it was actually quite decent for a kids show for Nickelodeon. Like I generally, yeah, I generally looked at it and went, this is something I've got to admit is decent for for the younger audience, because it was introducing the values of Star Trek and stuff into it. But because they had season 2 all ready to go, all voiced, literally again, they could have just gone play, and then people would have watched it. They just cancelled it off the bat, and it's just like, why? You spent all that money. Why? It just doesn't make sense.
Right.
I don't know. I can't really say anything about it because I haven't watched the show, but I do know it had its fans. But the reason I asked, like, what's the viewership? Because a lot of stuff has fans. To us, it seems like it's the biggest thing, but it's actually like a waste of money to keep producing. So
Let me have a look. Viewership. Okay, look at that. It's one of those things that when you actually want to look at ratings, it's just like, oh, why not? Why aren't you actually telling me? I wish there was a website dedicated to this sort of stuff. Was it viewership? Ratings, that's it. Yeah, it always just really annoys me that you don't get it, like actually get to see it.
yeah. Again, so stuff stays private. I get it, but I don't know. It has its fans. I haven't watched it. Star Trek really doesn't do it for me. Like I said, my introduction to the Star Trek stuff was either the films with Chris Pine, which I enjoyed, and then the Orville, which was like a successor from McFarlane. So
I think that if you do, TNG, like, the original series is, to me, I don't like it. Like, I really don't, because it's way overacting, and it doesn't really tell you much of the thing. Like, I sometimes sit there and go, how did this show actually like start such a big thing? Like, you know, this whole kind of massive franchise. But then TNG was the one that I watched as a kid, and I actually really liked it. So I would recommend starting with that and just kind of like getting through the couple of seasons, because it does, I think until a certain part, it does kind of carry on what the original series was like the way that it's acting and stuff like that. But then like Deep Space Nine is really good if you like political stuff. It's just basically a massive like airport in space. That's literally what it is. And then Voyager.
But we have to go back in time. We have to keep going back in time with each new season.
That's, I think, later on, like, that's not what I liked at all, because I think after like each Star Trek is like kind of, it sets over. So like TNG carries on, but then Deep Space Nine like pops
it's
in.
It's like 50 years before TNG, and then Voyager was 10 years before that. But no. Enterprise is the absolute beginning of everything.
Discovery.
Discovery. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that's the problem, because like a lot of nostalgia, a lot of people really want the old stuff back. So where to me personally is like, so TNG, then goes Deep Space Nine, then goes Voyager, and they're all after each other, or they're all set in a time, like a set period of time. And then all of a sudden when they had Enterprise, it was like, this is what happened beforehand. And I'm just like, no one gives a shit about Enterprise. Like, what the hell? And then there are people who do, but to me, I don't care about it. And then you had Discovery, which is then so much more advanced technology-wise, and it's set before, like 25 years before Kirk. And it's just like, why? And then they just like vaulted themselves in the future, which is absolutely fine. But it should always be the set in the future. That's how I always see it. It should never be, let's go back in time. Let's carry on with the future.
That's what it should be.
Yeah. And I think you've got a few more seasons coming out, which might kind of like carry it on. I just get really bored. I don't like stuff that's set in the past. It pisses me off a lot. So, but yeah, that's it. I just want to talk about like Lower Decks being cancelled, and Discovery's on its last season at the moment, and I haven't seen it yet. So, but it's set in the future, which is good.
Well, maybe it can come back in the future. Paramount do love bringing back their reboots. Zoe 101, iCarly. So hey,
yeah, if it does,
iCarly, but I'm kind of pissed it got canceled.
Yeah. I mean, didn't it come back for like 17 seasons though? I haven't watched the new one.
What, iCarly?
Yeah.
No, it came back for like one season, and then after that, they canceled it on a fucking cliffhanger.
Oh, what, they canceled iCarly?
Yeah. The reboot came back, and then they ended it on a cliffhanger, and it got canceled. And now people are trying to get it back, so they can continue it from the cliffhanger.
Just do a film. Just do a TV film. like 2 hour long, whatever, and kind of wrap it up. That's what I generally think that they should do. Like, it should be generally put into comics. Sorry, into the contract, and say that is it, 100%. You are this now, and you
Right.
have to finish it, because I feel like if you're going to invest yourself into a lot of time, why? Like, they did it with as a Nickelodeon show called Astronauts, which I didn't realize was a Nickelodeon show, and I was super like, oh my god, this is really interesting. And then all of a sudden they just fucked it up at the end, and we're just like, here it is on a cliffhanger, and then they cancelled the show. I was like, the fuck are you meant to be doing that with? And it's hard because now the kids have grown up and they've aged, so it wouldn't even make sense to bring it back.
Right.
But I invested at least a good week or two, maybe more, into watching it, and I was just like, this is wank as fuck. But yeah,
Yeah, that's what it is.
it should be in contract. It should literally be, write this up as like a thing, leave it open ended, but kind of close it off. And then if we do cancel it off, like, at least the people have got closure.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a big problem we've seen.
I mean, if they did it like a little 2 hour like movie continuation thing, I guess that would work. But how would that work? How would you make a show, or like any show, that ends on a cliffhanger to like a 2 hour film?
The way that I would kind of do it would be, so if we take iCarly, I would have it so iCarly, they get married or whatever. I haven't seen this. I'm just going to go off what I think happened. So, like, they get married. It shows maybe in the first 20 minutes, maybe the first year of their life together, ups and downs, and then kind of just ending it off. If there's any sort of like any like open-ended like tie-ups that they haven't done, bring them together, and then just go, okay, we've tied up all these loose ends, let's just bring this, and then at least people get closure. So it'll be like, oh, maybe we'll bring back Jenna Sam, for a split scene that she's at the wedding, so everyone goes, she's there at least. Or if she doesn't want to come back, a cardboard cutout or something, something there to kind of say, like, we're finishing this off. And at the end, just be like, this is the end of iCarly, and then not at all ever bring it back, because you finished it. People still want to see it because obviously there is an audience for it. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I find it really annoying that they don't really want to kind of finish it, and I think they should do.
I mean, it'd be kind of difficult to make a finish a movie ending to a series based around her mother coming back into her life. I think it'll be kind of difficult to do that.
It could be. I mean, that was the ending, wasn't it?
Yep.
I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to be 2 hours. Like, it just depends on the sort of show. Maybe it could be an hour where they start talking, and then you just see Freddie and Carly's life together, and then you give them the happy ending that they need, and then take it that way. That's how I would do it, at least. To give the audience closure, or at least maybe 2 episodes, and then just be like, there you go. We have, we resolved the cliffhanger. Everybody's happy. Move on, and you're okay then.
Yeah, could work. Who knows?
Yeah, or at least just write it so you're not like, haha, we're gonna give you a cliffhanger and you're never gonna see it ever again.
Yeah, shoot, that's like if I did something with hybrids, and I'm still in the process of trying to get this thing done, but I'm getting literally just derailed every single time. But that's like if I did something where I'm like 2 seasons in, and then I end season 2 on the biggest cliffhanger ever, and then you don't know what happens after that. Be like, the fuck you doing?
Yeah,
what?
I think it's because you never get that closure from it. you want to know what happens, you want to know what goes on, but if you just don't get closure, it's like, why have I invested my time? And I also think, why would you even make something from a TV perspective that you can't just get it sorted? Like, to me, that's the one thing that really annoys the shit out of me. It's like,
Right.
I'm spending so much time investing. I want that payoff. Otherwise, I'm not going to watch anything that you put out ever again. I was like, no, don't care. Like, there's a lot of shows that I won't watch because that I won't watch because they haven't finished the ending off.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I like X-Men 97 it's a continuation.
Yeah, it's a
continuation reboot.
Yeah. Well, the fact is, like, that they've got they're going to do a season 2, so and that's what everyone's looking forward to because it's done so well. But if they made it a cliffhanger like they did, I think with the last one, then I think it. People are just going to go, why? Like, I'm not gonna watch this anymore.
Right.
So the sad part is there are many comics to adapt.
Yeah, there's true, but then again, from what I remember of 97, it wasn't it didn't finish or anything like that. So I got completely distracted with the thing in the background. Then I was just like, so yeah, like at the end of the day, it was its own thing. Like, I don't know if it followed all the comics, like maybe like the main main storylines, but I don't think it was like they followed a comic book or something.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. So, what should we, after we've now talked about X-Men, what is the next one? We've got.
Let's do games we've been playing.
Okay.
I think we want Darrell for Loser Rangers.
Right.
We can talk about Loser Rangers. I've watched it. I've got the manga.
I do not know what the whistling is.
It's just it pops up. I don't know what it is. I keep hearing it.
Yeah, that's my game here in the background. My bad. I thought I turned that down low enough to where that pitch wouldn't be playing.
There you go. That's what I was hearing. Is like that's what kind of like.
Yeah, my bad. That's my game.
Goddamn video games. So it's a good segment. That's okay. So what has everyone kind of been playing, like, recently?
I recently got back into Bloodborne.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been going over to my buddy's house and playing it with him just to get a good idea of what I got myself into years ago and why I want a second game to come out.
Mm.
And then,
I've never been into the soul like games.
Souls games.
Yeah. And it's like two variations of those games. There's Soulsborne, there's Soulborne games and then Soul like games, which is two. I'm using that. I've seen a video explaining the difference between a Soulsborne game and a Souls like game, and I'm still confused on the variations between the two. But as far as games that have been getting played lately, I have been really deeply invested into Cyberpunk 2077. So
have you got all the DLC for it as well?
Unfortunately, no, because what's the company name? CDPR made it so that you can only play the DLC on next gen consoles, which would be the PS5 and the Series system, only because when the game first got released, when 2077 first got released, it was buggy, it was laggy, it was crashing, and in order to avoid the problems they had when the game first came out, they figured they would release the DLC and just have it be only playable on next gen systems, which I mean I fully understand and I get, but it kind of defeats the purpose of me buying the game and knowing that I can't fully finish the game until I get a whole nother system.
That I think that's a little bit shitty that they've done that, because I know all the problems that they had when it came out originally. It was more, how do I say, like it was meant to be more for like the Xbox One, like the original one that came out in like 2015 or before that. And then all of a sudden now it's more kind of I think they had to say that to be more like well, buy the new one because we can't like lower the graphics down for this because it's a bit shit.
So looking on Steam, Steam doesn't even have the DLC unless it's Phantom Liberty.
Yep. That sucks. That truly sucks. And the thing is, I'm loving the game so far. I'm in the midst of like the ending part of like Act 2 in this game, and this is probably the most. I rarely say this. I rarely say this. Like it's rare that a game series or just a game in general will get me heavily invested to the point where I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe this character did this. And like, no, I didn't want this character to die. Like, oh my god, this character, like, why, all this stuff. It's rare that a game actually gets me to that point. And the only game to ever get me to that point to where I actually got somewhat emotional at it or got to the point where, it got me in my feelings was Mass Effect, the Mass Effect series. That's the only game series that actually ever get me to the point where I was like full on emotional. So Cyberpunk literally has like the type of writing and crafting, just storytelling to get you heavily invested into it to where you will not want to put the game down.
Yeah. I would say no. I think the writing's there, but the execution was poor.
Well, yeah, gameplay could use a little bit of work.
So the question is, like, I'm trying to think. Would this make you now go out and buy the next gen console to continue the storyline? Oh,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at this point, I got to because it's like I'm close to getting into like the end game part. So at this point, I might as well just go out and get a next gen console and just transfer it over to the next gen, then get the DLC and just finish it from there. But
yeah,
that's going to be a minute. So
see, because I've been thinking about this because I kind of really want to like jump into the next gen, but the way that I kind of see it is, I don't particularly want to have to go and buy a new console like every so often. I basically want to like bring it in. So like if there's a PS6, that's what I want. That's what I'm going to buy. If I'm going to buy a new PlayStation or Xbox, I want to know when the next one is, because I don't want to go out and buy a console and all of a sudden be like, well, guess what, guys? We've now bringing out the PS 3000. You're like, I just bought this one.
Yeah.
The trigger for go ahead, Chris. Since
I wish they would just make one and be like, okay, this is good. We're done. We don't have to make another. But like every time you get the new thing, it's like you got the wrong one. The PS 5000 came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like look at Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like I bought a PS4 for, I think originally for Horizon Zero Dawn, but then Final Fantasy VII like comes out and I'm like, okay, that's for the PS4. But then all of a sudden I'm like, right, can't wait to continue my journey. I'm really excited for it, and it's like it's coming on PS5, and then that's it. And I'm just like, but now like that took like 3 years to make the Rebirth. If they make another one, I don't want to have to be like, I've just bought PS5. It's like, well, it's now you're going to get the PS6. Like exactly the dog in the background. It's the dog.
Right.
Yeah. I still got tax shit to do, so I could only jump in for a second, but I had to. I'm in danger. Our Dark Lord Milo demanded that he make his cameo.
He's all the way over there, and obviously he's not coming to you. So look at that.
Oh, you're a brat when you come to your treats. You know that, like when he's eating, it's like I'm gonna go over here. You come near me, you die.
Yeah. Look at that Milo. He's like, I don't like PS5. I want PS6. I want PS7. Exactly, Lionel.
Give me the PS23. Like, wait, what?
I want it brought to me in a box full of bacon. Otherwise, I will burn your villages.
Exactly. God damn, Milo.
And
God damn.
I want the woman who brings me the PS5 bathed and brought to my bedchambers.
Milo, why are you a tyrant?
Milo's the tyrant. Yo, look at his trim though. He hit the groomers.
He's like,
So the thing that pulled the trigger for me for the PS5 was I did research into it before I bought it, and I was at Ranger Stop. I'm like, do I want to spend the $400? And I'm like, you know what? FF16 is coming out. I really like the concept of that game, or Executed.
Right.
And I can play my PS4 games as well. And I know a bunch of PS4 games I want that are already there. And plugging that in and playing Kingdom Hearts, woof.
Adding on to that, I think like another potential con for the PS5 is the PS4 is still pretty legit. It's still a good system. It hasn't aged out yet.
Right.
I mean, they'll
I actually do have to bounce now, but yo, catch you guys in a bit.
Bye.
Later.
Bye, Milo.
You made your cameo. Congratulations.
PS6 bacon. That's what I want.
Co-host.
Yeah.
Give me my bacon. Yeah, give me my bacon. Give it.
So yeah, I think the main thing is like the PS4 will still hold up for a while, but they're gonna stop after a while. They're gonna stop supporting it, so they're gonna force you to update to PS5. It's a thing that they did with the Xbox One. Like, I don't think you can still. Can you still get Xbox? Yeah, I'm sure you can still get Xbox One games, but it's more like
it'll be fading out within a month or two, if I remember correctly.
So, I mean, I just download the games and stuff like that. But to be fair, like I know I have to be forced to it, but I don't want to have to go like. So when I was saying about Final Fantasy Rebirth, is if I go and buy PS5 and then suddenly I buy that game, I don't want the next console to come out. So I'd rather wait until Final Fantasy 7, whatever it's going to be called, the third one's going to come out, and then about okay, well that's for PS6. Cool, I'll go buy a PS6 then, and then I'll buy Rebirth, and then I'll buy the new one. So I have two games effectively to play.
Right.
But I just don't want it to be like I have to be forced to do it. It's just I want them to go, this is the console we're going to make, and then that's it for the end of time, and then that's it.
Right. I think at this point, and it's strange for me to say this because I consider myself a diehard console gamer. Like, I've played every console game from Super Nintendo all the way up to literally the Xbox One X and PS4 for Slim and Pro and everything else. It's rare for me to say this, but I'm honestly getting tired of all the consoles and upgraded consoles coming out like every other month, every other year. So at this point, if I get the 5 Pro or the Series X or PS6 or whatever the heck comes out after that, that will probably end up being my last system, and I'll probably just switch to straight up PC because at this point, me constantly buying consoles and systems every other year or every other couple of years is getting ridiculous.
Exactly, and it just means that in a way we can't, like, you're kind of locked into it. Like, I mean, I think one thing is like these games companies also now have to think about its backwards compatibility, because like that's one thing that Xbox did right to some degree. And Sony did it with the PS3, like the one that could play it, like PS2 games and stuff like that. But I always think that whichever console now it says like, hey, you can play these games from past consoles that people would actually go jump in and buy. Now I think I just don't give a shit because you're so far behind. But people seem to be playing a lot more retro games, a lot more old classics, and I think that if Sony or Xbox or Microsoft literally put it on and said you can play all the games, not like a select few, I think people would enjoy it a lot more.
Right. I mean, at this point, like, stop making just like upgraded consoles. Just come out with like the console that can literally do everything. Come out with the PlayStation Ultimate and the Xbox Ultimate or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier for the wallet, I think, and yeah, it's what I kind of really want, but they're going to keep doing it. You're going to get the next Xbox, next PlayStation, but I think literally just release them every 5 years, and then at least then you go, okay, well now I think I'm going to go buy a brand new console. But everyone's like, I need the new graphics. I need the new graphics right now. It has to have the thing. I was like, just buy it on PC. Just you're going to upgrade your PC at some point. Just fucking play the games on PC. That's why I thought like Final Fantasy was going to drop on PC, like maybe a month.
It still is. We just gotta wait.
Right.
Yeah, I think like I would have liked if they did like day one, or maybe like, oh, we're going to release this like 3-4 months later, so that I can go, there we go, I'm going to buy this. But apparently they just don't. So it'll be like next year now, and I'll be like, okay, cool, show me something awesome then.
Yep.
Yeah, it is what it is. What can you do?
Yeah.
But at this point, I'm probably going to end up probably the next maybe 2-3 years or so. I'll probably end up switching over to PC, which would be a dramatic change because I know nothing about PC gaming at all.
I always look at the graphics. So when I was building mine, I looked at, because I built I didn't build it. I had a gaming laptop that I spent like a couple of grand on, and then it just kept like massively fucking up. So I looked at all the graphics cards and stuff at the time, and I just went off the same specification, but like boosted it up. So when it came to the graphics card, like I had something like a something. So then I looked at what the PC equivalent was, and I was like, right, I'll build that. And I just built everything around it. It's looking at what you kind of use it for and how much money that you want to spend. So because I do a lot of video editing, I don't normally play a lot of video games at times. So I built it so I could easily do both. So if I'm like, okay, here is, I want to play all these games, and at least my graphics card and stuff will be better. And then if I have to upgrade it in, like, say, 5-10 years time, then I'll just buy the new motherboard, or I'll build another machine and just keep it in the same unit as I've got, or sell it and then kind of like see what happens.
Right.
It's just all about like building it. There are websites that will help you build certain websites and stuff. So yeah, it's. I think it's just one of those things of just take your time. Ask for help. Everyone's going to be like, you need to get this graphics card, or you need to get that. It's like, okay, well, okay, I'll look into it.
Right. Sure, I've seen some like wild gaming PCs that have been like custom built that have like the cooling units in it, and
you don't fully need that
shit and stuff. And I'm like, what the hell?
So when I built mine, I spoke to a company and I was like, look, I want water cooling because I know it's going to get super hot at times. What do you recommend? And they were like, okay. And I was like, also, I don't want to drain it and then have to put like more liquid in and then have to change it because the cooling system's got liquids got like fucked up or something like that or whatever. So they just said like, you just need a sealed unit then, and it automatically is fine. I was like, great, that's what I'm doing. So that was the main thing that I did in the end, and I think it worked like pretty decently. So I'm not draining that machine every couple of years. Fuck that shit.
Sure, I think the one thing that threw me off with this one guy who had this custom built gaming PC, I think the one thing that threw me off is that he had the liquid cooling tubes and stuff that ran through it and stuff, but and I'm pretty sure it's a special liquid that doesn't mess up, computer boards and stuff. But he literally poured it directly into the actual
it's
thing. I was like, the hell? Like, he's about to blow his whole computer up. He's like, nah.
it's
for the PC. Like, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, it's a specially designed liquid or something that cools it down. I've seen that. I think I saw this really cool machine like a couple of years ago, and I was like, I spoke to the people. I was like, how much is this machine? Because like literally had pipes going everywhere, and it looked really, really cool. And they were like, oh, it's like 3,500, or like $5,000, $6,000, and I was just like,
yeah,
oh, I'm not spending that much money.
My build is probably roughly 3,000 by now.
That's probably roughly about mine is as well.
Sheesh.
And I've made upgrades to it, and I have to spend another $300-400 on a new graphics card, possibly new fans or something.
Oh wow!
So I spent a lot of mine. I have a special case as well where it's like silent. So like the first one I built or the first one I had, like I returned it to the shop because literally I was like, I can't do work, while this is buzzing. And then I found a thing called a silent case. Can't hear it. Like you can hear it go when the fans are dirty. So I clean the fans and it's just like, it's not even on. Like, is it on? I mean, I can hear it now, but like, and obviously I know it's on, but yeah, when you hear it, it's like, is it on? Fucking hell, that's silent as shit.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, do you guys want to talk about Loser Ranger at the moment, or have you seen Loser Ranger?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it, but I saw a review clip of it, and it looks crazy.
I think it looks pretty good. Like I've got the manga, I need to read it. I haven't reviewed the first one yet, but I watched it on Disney, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I also have it downloaded as well, and I don't know when it comes out, so I don't know if it's like every Sunday. Actually, when is it coming out?
I don't know. I'll probably watch it on Crunchyroll with a friend of mine.
Yeah, as far as I know, it's on Hulu, so I'm gonna check it out on Hulu.
So it came. Oh, so yeah, it should be out today. Actually, it's every Sunday.
Every Sunday.
Yeah, so that's gonna see if that's up there. Because yeah, it's one I was actually going to review every week, but I just haven't had a time to like double check it out properly yet to sit down and record it because there's so much stuff coming out at the moment. So, but it looks pretty awesome to be fair. So if people haven't seen it, I'll read the synopsis. So it says the plot. 13 years ago, the villainous army of evil attempted to invade Earth, faced by the Super Sentai squadron known as Divine Dragon Rangers, also known as the Dragon Keepers, and their weapons, the Divine Tools. The evil army, however, was defeated within a year. All of its executives wiped out, and the surviving and almost immortal foot soldiers have been forced ever since to reenact their defeat to the Keepers in front of the crowded spectators every Sunday. Tired of the charade and realizing that the amounts to little more than slavery, one of the foot soldiers rebels and decides he will defeat the Dragon Keepers by infiltrating the organization. So this is something that I think is going to be fantastic. The first episode was actually quite good. And it's something that I think is... Oh, yeah, definitely the second episode's out. So, yeah, I think it's definitely one to kind of keep an eye on if you're kind of like wanting Power Rangers at the moment.
Right.
But, yeah, like I do want to review this weekly. I just haven't had time to sit down to kind of like sort it all out. But it's something that I think is going to be fantastic. I'm hoping like it's quite bloody, like well, not yet, but I think it does get kind of like more mature, violent. So I think that's going to kind of add to it, and I'm hoping that there's going to be some major big fighting and like I can't believe you're one of the minions. It's like yes, I was. Ha ha ha.
It'll be interesting to see how it goes. But just the synopsis, I'm just like, no, wait a minute. Doesn't this sound oddly familiar, though? Oh, right. Star Wars, the new trilogy where Finn never got his arc.
Hmm.
I say that's very different for
Because
Star Wars and Power Rangers.
Because he was a minion. He defected to the good guys.
Well, the thing is, though, that from what I've just read, is like the minion actually doesn't want to. He hasn't defected to the good guys. He wants to take down the good guys, and I'm sure Finn didn't do that. So,
nah.
But yeah, this is something. I mean, it's just going to be interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it's complete, like if it's the complete thing. It sounds similar, but yeah, this is something a little different.
Right. It seems like it's worth checking out.
I mean, looking at the volumes as well. So I'm guessing, like in like manga 1, like you have like 5 like chapters and stuff in there, and then altogether there are at the moment 122 chapters. It's a lot of Sentai, and it goes up to 134.
It goes up to how much?
Apparently up to 134 chapters. So I'm guessing the anime is going to be around about 12 episodes, something like that. Let me just double check. Okay, yeah, it hasn't really said anything. But yeah, like in the anime, hang on, let me double check. It doesn't actually say it, but yeah, I reckon it'll be about 12 episodes. I would laugh if it was 40 like Super Sentai.
Well, if they want to keep the freaking Power Rangers and the Power Ranger formula, there we go.
It'll be fun. I think they're going to go straight to at least 40. Why not? And then, or the occasional break. I don't know, depending on if it's going to be like the actual Sentais and stuff.
Right.
But who knows? I'm looking
I
forward.
mean, it is in anime format, and like anime, the anime format has to compensate for the jokiness parts, the seriousness parts, and then you got the filler episode parts of animation, and then you got the what do you call it? God, can't remember it. Fan service.
Yep.
I think they'll probably put some fan service in. I don't think there'll be that a lot. I mean, I don't know. I've not actually read it or seen most of it. I think the only from looking at the Pink Ranger, I have a feeling that maybe there might be some fan service, but there may be more male fan service because I think there's only so far that I've seen is 2 girls in the anime. Right. So maybe it'll be a lot more male fan service this time, rather than anything. Maybe they'll go to the beach. Maybe they'll have a swimming pool scene. And then it becomes an official anime when those 2 scenes happen. But I don't know. It's a weird thing because I thought they would have another girl on the team, but it just seems like they've just got the Pink Ranger and that's it. So it'd be interesting to see. Will they add in fan service, or are they just going to be like, no, it's just going to be fighting and laser cannons and that's it?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but they got to add something to it just to balance it out.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
but I think we'll leave it there today, boys. Unless there's anything else that you guys want to talk about.
I can think of nothing.
I am drawing a blank.
Same here. All right, so I think we should end it there. Go watch Go Loser Rangers, like all our socials and all that jazz. And yeah, I think we'll end it there. Bye.
Bye.